I cannot state just how important this news is, just how insane this news is. The new BYD X Dream SUV is coming to Australia at a price of $35,000 or 27,000 US dollars. I believe this car is coming to the UK very shortly after, and New Zealand and Norway, and followed shortly after that to Europe. BYD is the fourth largest battery manufacturer in the world. They have the capacity to make literally hundreds of thousands of this vehicle, unlike pretty much every other brand of car manufacturer in the world who doesn't manufacture its own skateboard, its own batteries. This is an insanely good looking vehicle coming with 800 volt architecture, similar to what is in the Porsche Taycan. It's going to allow ultra rapid charging, which isn't in more than 95% of EVs on the road, or that will be on the road within 24 months. Then this car will come, let me say this again, guys, 27,000 US dollars. This is a game changer, and here is why. Hi guys, and welcome to the Electric Singularity, or what I contend is, very not humbly, the best EV channel on YouTube. Yep, I said it, it's out there. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. Great to see you again. Guys, once again, I need to tell you about news from BYD that has just been released within the last 24 hours and matters. In fact, it might matter even more than any previous news I've shared on my channel. If you're new to the channel, guys, there are several videos about BYD, and I suggest you watch those to give you a better understanding of the company, what it's doing over the next 24 months, and why I think you should invest in the company. But if you don't, I still think you should be aware of what they're doing over the next 2 years, because it's going to dramatically change the industry. So make sure you watch those videos. I'll chuck the links in the description below so you can have easy access to find them, and so you can learn all about BYD. Honestly, if you don't know all about BYD and you're watching an EV channel, then you need to have a watch. So Nextport has just revealed that they will be selling an SUV in Australia for less than $35,000. By this time next year, it will be well and truly on sale and going into people's hands, customers' hands, being driven. Now, this new EV will obviously be on the same platform as the EA1, which will also go on sale in Australia for, actually, I believe the base model will cost around $30,000. Now, the base model for this crossover SUV from BYD will cost under $35,000. That's been confirmed by Australia's distributor for the brand. I'm telling you now, BYD are also going to sell these cars, not just in Australia, but in Europe. In Norway, they've already started. And I believe next up is the United States. Now, guys, I know that because the Trump administration put large tariffs on car companies selling their cars to America, I think the tariffs are around about 25%. That makes it harder. But you've got to remember, BYD have a significant lead on General Motors, on Ford, on other American car companies not named Tesla. They make their own battery. They make pretty much everything that goes into the car. I'm telling you now, GM and Ford they make very little of what goes into the car, and that's the industry standard. Don't get me wrong. Neither does Toyota, neither does BMW. Most car manufacturers don't make much of what goes into the car. Now, if you're not already aware, BYD supply batteries to Toyota, but not just batteries. They supply drivetrains, computer modules, motors. They supply the entire skateboard to Toyota for their newest EV. BYD is actually the fourth largest battery company in the world. So they have a significant advantage over their competition in terms of cost. Now, they also have a significant advantage over their competition in terms of quality. Yep, I said it, quality. Their new BYD Blade battery is going to be a game changer. Being able to do 1 million kilometers in a vehicle before seeing any degradation is an absolute game changer. And remember, their current batteries, even though they are nowhere near as good as this new BYD Blade battery, are still reported by many users to be excellent and to have very little degradation after hundreds of thousands of kilometers in use in taxi fleets all over China. Now, obviously, this is anecdotal information. However, what's not anecdotal is the fact that governments all around the world keep on ordering BYD's buses and trucks from BYD. Now, if they were seeing significant battery degradation, and this is in their old batteries, not the new one, by the way, then do you think these governments would continue ordering, not just governments, by the way, but private businesses as well, would continue ordering these vehicles. Well, they wouldn't, of course. BYD makes very good batteries, and they have an advantage with their batteries that they don't need to use nickel. They use lithium iron phosphate, and it's much cheaper than making standard lithium ion batteries. And not only is it cheaper, they're also basically fireproof. So in addition to the fact that BYD have a significant advantage because they make their own batteries, they also make their own batteries that are cheaper than the competition could even hope to come close to matching. So, like I said, guys, I'm confident BYD will launch their vehicles in the United States, but I believe they'll sell them first in countries where the taxes are lower. The barrier of entry is more simple. However, getting back to the car. Now, what matters about this vehicle is the fact that it will have an excellent battery, be priced cheaper than equivalent SUVs. Now, there's many, many models of vehicle on the market that are similar in size, I believe, similar in what you're getting. However, obviously they're petrol powered, so they're far inferior, but cost more. Yes, that's right, cost more. So this vehicle will absolutely change the industry in a way that I believe will be a seminal moment in the history of the EV industry. Now, BYD in Australia, well, BYD distributor in Australia has confirmed that there will be 3 EVs here in Australia that will all cost less than $35,000. Now, for comparison's sake, that's around about 27,000 US dollars or 27,000 euro. As you can see, that is an absolute game changer. Now, these 3 vehicles are the BYD T3 van, the BYD EA1 high-riding hatch, and also, like I said, the BYD crossover. The first of this trio of cars will be the van called the T3, and that will come out in Australia in September. Now, as you can imagine, van drivers don't care about looks. It's not their bread and butter, is it? Making money is their bread and butter. If you can get a van that will last for 1 million kilometers, which is well over double what traditional petrol vehicles will last, and costs you far less to service and far less to actually operate on a day-to-day basis using electricity instead of petrol, do you think you would do it? Of course you would. You'd save enormous amounts of money. The BYD T3 van, being less than $35,000 with a 50 kilowatt hour battery, which will give you around about 300 kilometers of range, is going to sell like hotcakes when it comes out in September. As will the BYD EA1, which in base model form, I believe will cost less than $30,000 or around about 24,000 US dollars. That is crazy. So the T3 will be followed early next year by the all-new BYD EA1 hatch, which was shown recently at the Shanghai Motor Show, and a yet-to-be-revealed Ion Plus compact SUV, the design for which was previewed by the near-production BYD X Dream concept, which was also unveiled in Shanghai. Both the hatch and the SUV will also be priced below 35,000 Australian dollars, 27,000 US dollars or euros, and deliver a driving range of about 500 kilometers. Yep, you heard that right. We're going to see an SUV on the market globally with a driving range of 500 kilometers or well over 300 miles, which will cost $27,000. That's true. It's a true story. This is really happening. I'm not lying to you. This is what's really going to happen within the next 12 months. That car's being made by one of the biggest EV suppliers in the world, who is also the 4th largest battery company in the world. Obviously, you can see this news is game-changing. So, when are they going to be sold? Well, all 3 of these vehicles will be available on the market by the end of Q1 2022. So that means with the T3 coming out in September, we'll see the BYD EA1 and the new crossover SUV on the market before the end of April next year. This is going to drive a huge spike in demand for electric vehicles globally in whatever markets they are sold in outside of Australia. And as some of you are aware, these cars are also being sold in Norway. Now, if you haven't already seen my video on the EA1, check it out in the link below. You can find out more information about this hatchback, which I believe is going to completely change the automotive landscape globally. And that is probably an understatement. Now, what I haven't talked about in this video so far is another country where these vehicles will be sold, and that is the United Kingdom. Recently, a car company, a ride-sharing company in the UK placed a large order for a fleet of EVs from BYD. Now, obviously, it's pretty unlikely that a company will purchase these vehicles without having some sort of dealer support. Pretty much impossible that's going to happen. I haven't seen that anywhere else in the world. This obviously suggests that BYD will go on sale in early 2022 in the United Kingdom. I'm very confident of this happening because of this rideshare agreement, which suggests that there will be a BYD distributor in the United Kingdom. I believe this will be announced within the next 6 months. Now, in other good news around electric cars here in Australia, the CEO of True Green, or the distributors of BYD in Australia, said they have struck a deal with a Brisbane-based EV rapid charging manufacturer called Tritium that should see an aggressive rollout of more EV charging stations across the country. Now, guys, I also made a video yesterday on another company who is building out a huge number of electric charging stations in Australia. In fact, they've assessed 3,500 sites over the last 6 months for placing rapid fast chargers at. Now, last week, Tritium announced plans to list on the Nasdaq exchange in the US, expanding the global business that has already seen it become the world's second biggest fast charging unit supplier. Now, True Green Mobility hopes to be firmly embedded in Australia's transition to large-scale EV sales. The company's Nextport offshoot recently announced an order of 3,000 vehicles to Australian technology firm Xpeng, which will supply vehicles to Uber and delivery drivers nationally. Now, those drivers, Uber is going to give them, people driving an EV, an additional incentive to have an EV. So if you're part of the Uber fleet, I believe in Australia, you will actually get discounted costs or a higher fare rate. Now, what I find very, very, very interesting about this announcement was something I haven't talked about yet. This is extremely important. In fact, probably the most important part of the EV industry is something we haven't talked about: production capacity. Obviously, we have Ford, GM, Mercedes, BMW, Audi, all the car makers saying they're going to bring out these amazing vehicles, bringing them to market, and then quietly not telling anyone they are only producing a very small number or only selling them in Europe, where they need to try and avoid big fines for polluting. Now, this is a problem. If they announce a great vehicle, if somebody announces a great product but tells you can't buy it, it's pretty pointless. 90% of the world, 95%, probably more like 99% of the world currently can't buy a car that isn't branded Tesla as an EV. So that's a problem. But the CEO of Nextport, the distributor for BYD in Australia, said something very, very interesting. He said, "We have capabilities tenfold. We could import more than 30,000 vehicles into Australia annually. We have as much production capability as demand requires." Clearly, BYD have said to them, "We have as much battery supply as you can possibly need." Let me repeat that. He said, "We could import more than 30,000 vehicles into Australia annually. We have as much production capability as demand requires." That is huge. That is huge news because obviously they'll sell way more than 30,000 vehicles here in Australia. If BYD are telling the importer that they have as much production capacity as they can possibly need, that means BYD are in a position to build a lot more electric cars than they currently are building. Unlike other car makers promising the world and actually delivering very little because they don't have the production capacity to deliver those vehicles. BYD, being the fourth largest battery manufacturer in the world, has the capacity to actually deliver those vehicles, not just talk about it, to actually deliver them. Now, for those of you who don't know much about BYD's vehicles, BYD recently introduced an 800-volt E Platform 3.0, similar to what's in Porsche Taycan, and the new EVs EA1 and X Dream will have this new 800-volt E Platform. I'm not sure about the T3 van, but the EA1 and the new SUV will have this 800-volt E Platform 3.0. This is huge news because it will allow the cars to have better charging speed, and charging speed matters. Now, guys, BYD has really stepped up its game with this new 3.0 platform, its new model series, and its new design of their vehicles. The designs have really improved over previous iterations. BYD announced at the 2021 Shanghai Auto Show an all-new E Platform 3.0 for the next generation electric vehicles coming around the world to the UK, Australia, New Zealand, Norway, and in very soon after that, Europe, and I believe after that to the United States. as well as they also unveiled the X Dream concept, which I believe is what the new crossover will be coming to market, and all new EA1 model and the new 2021 Tang DMI plug-in hybrid with Blade batteries. Now, the fully electric version of the Tang is coming to Australia as well in 2022. Now, BYD has said that the E Platform 3.0 will continue to be open to the industry and other brands. So far, BYD solutions are used by Mercedes through their Denza joint venture. However, word in the last 72 hours says that Mercedes has signed a new agreement with BYD for Mercedes to actually use BYD's skateboard and batteries, etc., in their Mercedes vehicles. Now, obviously, Mercedes doesn't make batteries, doesn't make the skateboard. So who does? Well, BYD is going to be one of their official manufacturers for the skateboard. The skateboard is also being used by Toyota and by Didi Xu. Now, BYD says that there are 4 core advantages of E Platform 3.0, and these are intelligence, efficiency, safety, and aesthetics. BYD underlines that the new platform not only further integrates and standardizes core components, but also builds a new body structure, digital and electrical architecture, and a revamped BYD vehicle operating system. Now, the good thing about this is BYD's had experience with EVs for quite a long time, so they know what they need to improve on. They know where they can be better. Now, these vehicles, in my opinion, are going to be incredibly good and very competitive based on not just price, but quality, as the company has utilized its vertical integration to provide a complete solution, including its own software and its own battery cells. Now, all of you who know about the new Blade batteries are aware of just how good they are. And the incredible thing is, not only are they excellent on a number of metrics, they're also very, very cost effective. In the Platform 3.0, you'll find that the affordable BYD Blade battery, which uses LFP chemistry in cell-to-pack system without modules and is integrated into the vehicle structure. Now, the way they've integrated these batteries also saves on space. Much more efficient use of space in the pack. The largest battery pack options will translate into a range of up to 600 miles or 965 kilometers, or probably closer to 650 to 725 kilometers in the real world. Like I said before, the battery system will be 800 volt, which will increase the overall efficiency of the batteries, as well as allow them to fast charge extremely quickly, which is very important for commercial buyers. It'll take around 5 minutes to replenish 90 miles of charge, or about 145 kilometers in 145 kilometers of charge in 5 minutes at its peak charging rate. Now, there's also a new 8-in-1 module for the drive system for outstanding performance. The top model BYD Tang is said to do 2.9 seconds from 0 to 60 miles an hour. This is the new model, guys, not the current model, the new model which is coming out in 2022. And they also have a new heat pump which will minimize range loss from heating in winter. Very similar to what Tesla has done with its new Model 3 and Model Y. So the key highlights of the platform are: BYD's self-developed vehicle operating system has expandable, upgradable, and fully open to developers. Key modules are smaller, lighter, stronger, and require less energy. A new heat pump technology comes standard. Cruising range is 10% longer than previously in winter. It has a newly upgraded 8-in-1 module for the drive system. The overall efficiency has increased to over 89% power consumption per 100 kilometers. So they've actually, in the real world, increased the efficiency of the pack by around about 10%, up to a cruising range of 600 miles. Now, there's another video on YouTube claiming that the EA1 will have a range of 600 miles. They're just lying to you to try and get you to click on it. That's just nonsense. The EA1 won't come with a 100 kilowatt hour battery pack. That's stupid. Why would they need to do that? The EA1 will have a range of up to, in its highest iteration, around about 600 kilometers. The 1,000 kilometer thing is just clickbait. And it'll come with an 800 volt battery system, like I said. Ultra fast charging, 5 minutes to give it a range of 900 miles or 145 kilometers. BYD's Blade battery, a lithium iron phosphate chemistry in a cell-to-pack system as standard. Battery packs integrated into the vehicle structural design in the same way that Tesla are doing with their new 4680 battery cells. This will increase the torsional stiffness of the body without increasing weight. This matters. Now, the new vehicles will also have redefined design aesthetics, including shorter front overhangs, wider wheelbases, lower centers of gravity, more space, sense of movement and dynamics, as well as a better drag coefficient as low as 0.21. Here is how BYD describes what they're doing with the new platforms. When it comes to intelligence, the E Platform 3.0 comes with BYD's self-developed vehicle operating system, making it expandable, upgradable, and fully open to developers. It delivers better interaction between the vehicle and people, as well as vehicles and other things on the road, bringing electric cars even greater autonomous driving capabilities. At the same time, the iteration of speed of the new functions can be shortened from 2 months to 2 weeks, which means the function iteration cycle can be shortened by more than 70%. I have no idea what they're talking about here, by the way, just letting you know what they've said. With regards to efficiency, the E Platform 3.0's key modules are smaller, now that matters, lighter, stronger, and have lower energy consumption. The new platform is equipped with a new heat pump technology as standard, and a newly upgraded 8-in-1 module for the drive system, allowing the overall efficiency to exceed 89%. An electric vehicle equipped with the E Platform 3.0 takes just 2.9 seconds to go from 0 to 60 miles per hour, with a comprehensive cruising range of up to 600 miles. Obviously, they're referring to the quickest model in the lineup, which at the moment is the BYD Han sedan. Other vehicles in their range won't have those specifications. BYD said, with 800-volt fast charging technology, an electric vehicle can be charged for just 5 minutes to give it a range of 90 miles, while power consumption per 100 kilometers is reduced by 10%, and the cruising range is 10% longer in winter. Now, safety. In terms of safety, the ultra-safe Blade battery is the standard configuration of the E Platform 3.0, and it will vastly improve the integrity of pure EVs as one of the industry's safest power batteries. This is also integrated into the vehicle's structural design, doubling the torsional stiffness of the body. Like I said, similar to what Tesla is doing with its new 4680 battery cells and packs. Guys, as you can see, BYD are a force to be reckoned with. Not many people know about them at the moment, and right now is the perfect time to invest. I believe they're significantly undervalued in comparison to their competitors, such as, well, really the only other car brand on the market which makes its own batteries. Well, technically they do really, because Panasonic and Tesla, well, they have a JV, I guess. So Panasonic make the batteries within Tesla's factories. However, Tesla obviously right now is setting up production lines for battery manufacture. So the only two companies that I can see in the world who will be actually manufacturing their own batteries, their own motors, their own vehicles with vertical integration are Tesla and BYD. Both of them are companies that I would invest in, as I believe they will take much of the market share from the big players over the next decade. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one, guys. Remember to subscribe and like the video. Thank you. Good night.